Support the Amigos podcast and keep the Amiga goodness flowing for just $1 a month. Visit our page at patreon.com/AmigosPodcast.
Amiga, the first personal computer that gives you a creative edge.
Amigos, the podcast about everything Amiga. Amigos is a proud member of the Throwback Network, your home for quality retro podcasts. And now, here are your hosts, Aaron Dowdy and John Bodovkar Schaller.
Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And this week we're going to talk about Soccer Kid.
Oh, great.
It's going to be awesome. But before we dive into Soccer Kid, we got some mailbag feedback. We got a message from our buddy Tom, a.k.a. Deckard Threepwood. Tom says, absolutely love the show. You two are genuinely great characters.
Whoa.
I've never received a higher compliment.
I'm not sure how I feel about being a character.
Whenever I'm in my car, the Amigos podcast goes on.
Beautiful, man. Wow. Be careful out there.
Please keep up the great work. Sometimes, like you guys, some of the games you cover I've never played or heard of, and it's awesome to listen to you review and check them out. On a recent episode, you talked about setting up Workbench on a CF card. I, too, have spent many painful days trying to get to the bottom of it, but now I have a winning formula. So when we get to the news section, I've posted his PDF and video tutorial of how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beauty.
And he says, hopefully get to check out your show live sometime soon. Signed, Tom, a.k.a. Deckard Threepwood from Leeds in the UK.
Right, man.
He's a supporter of Sheffield United Football Club, the Steel City, my hometown in England. And he's also an Amiga fan. He's got that down there, too.
Beautiful.
So,
Hey, obviously.
Yeah. You got to support
What do you think about people that are there? He's rolling through Sheffield in his Cadillac or whatever, and he's got us blaring over
Just
the stereo.
blaring,
Can you imagine that? He's got your singing. Your singing's coming out of this caddy as he cruises down the street. Holy smokes.
We're making Sheffield
Stay
proud
out of the bad
when we do
parts
that.
of town, dude. Good Lord.
All right. So, let's go to the news, Aaron.
All right, good. Okay, so let's jump right in. First thing I want to talk about is I got a little bit of feedback that I thought we'd go over, but it's sort of newsy feedback.
Okay.
You know our good and dear friend, the Slow Norris.
I know about the Slow
Big
Norris.
fan of the Slow. So, last week we had John and we were talking about using the Salon Care 40, the big bottle of hair stuff. And John, the Slow Norris, told me, he's like, listen, he goes, this stuff works, but there's one caveat.
Uh-oh.
Do not use on painted badges. The little Amiga badges.
Yeah.
He said he did one of his upon washing all the paint off on his A1000. The badges were jacked, totally jacked up, no dice. He cried, he says, and I believe him. I think he literally cried because that's what I would do. So
That's a sad thing, Slow.
here's the thing. So what do you do with these badges? You pull them off if you can, maybe. Or I guess maybe you could tape over them, but boy, you're risking it. You're getting this a little risky.
Yeah, I would probably go with a tape just because I think that you might injure the badge more trying to pull it off.
You're right, which I'm happy to have the lovely metal badge. But it is something I hadn't thought about.
And you do have a spare SCOM badge.
That's right.
should
I'm
anything go
badged
bad,
out the yin yang, brother. So let's talk about the Nizoos here. So our good and dear friend, Duncan Styles,
The Dunkster.
the man with the plan, has a quiz up this week on our everythingamiga.com, and I've shared it on multiple frameworks of our various social networks. I took this quiz. I did pretty darn well, I might add. I started out well and then took a header on it. Tough quiz. It's on video game bad guys. Did you have a look at this quiz yet,
I
bro?
have not taken the quiz yet.
You will tank, sir. I challenge your knowledge of Amiga bad guys. And I will admit that on some of these I got lucky, and on some of these I didn't get lucky, I might add, but I did okay. Double digits. Can't remember if I got 10 or 12. I'm watching you. Bode is literally taking this as we speak. And let's see how he does. And he's off to a roaring start here. I will say I like the quiz. It's there's no baloney, no sign up for this. Just going to play it. Free, fun quiz over at the site. And some of these guys are obscure, to say the least. And like I said, some of them just sort of guessed based on what they looked like. So while you're finishing that up, Boat, I'm going to cruise on down here.
All right.
So, and Boat, here's one you put up. So I'll let you talk about it here when you finish up your calamity here. Man, what did you say you do for a living, Boat?
I definitely don't play Amiga.
School teacher? Holy smokes. Get the second red pen out. For all
Man,
these.
I knew that one.
My God. Have you gotten in? There you go. You finally got one. Okay, here's the final. Let's see what he finally gets here. 5 out of 16.
Boy.
Wow. What do you do in your spare time? Amiga podcast host. Holy smokes. Boat, take us through, since you posted this, the compact flash card reader on your Amiga, and we know that Threepwood's Thrifts show you how.
All right, so this is from our buddy that just sent us this
Yes.
this message from Leeds. He has there's a ton of video tutorials out there, but he actually has this PDF here that shows you step by step, and I guess he has a video guide as well, which I also posted. But it takes you step by step through, the hardware, all the required software. There's links to everything in here,
man.
which is very handy. This is very, very, very well done. As you know, this is not an easy project to undertake. There are many steps involved,
Yes.
and he has done an excellent job. So thank you, Threepwood's Thrifts, for putting this together, and it will live in, not infamy, just in famousness on the G Plus page forever.
I had a look at this thing, and again, where was this thing a few months ago or a few years ago when I was struggling through this nightmarish thing? It's probably not nightmarish to someone that's a real super duper brainiac, but for us poor,
Common
sapperoos,
folk.
yeah, we need a PDF. So that's a good gimmick. So our good friend Chris Folds, or as you call him, Chris Folds, posted an interesting little gimmick here. Looks like there's a big update coming to Super Skid Marks.
This is not even super. It's
Holy
epic.
smokes! Look at how awesome that looks, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Man, that looks great. I like this game. And now this is clearly this is going to be on your PC, presumably. Right?
yeah. This is running. It looks like it's going to run on your web browser. It's going to be a web-based deal.
No kidding.
How cool! I love watching those. Oh man, that just looks like a whole lot of
That
fun.
looks great. And plus,
Yeah.
I like the fact that
And now let's move on to our Mark Zuckerberg coverage for the day.
Vote is a dangerous man today with the mouse. So anyway, if you're into skid marks, keep your eyes open. And who ain't, right? I don't know. We're going to talk about. Did we decide to talk about this, Bo?
Yeah, we're going to talk about this.
Go ahead.
So this is our good and dear friend Ravi Abbott has just recently started up an Amiga 24/7 radio station on YouTube. These live radio stations on YouTube are all the rage, and I must admit that I listen to them quite often myself.
Indeed.
And who wouldn't love? And it's currently unavailable. He is in the process of bringing it back up. So by the time you hear this, it will be back up. Go to our G Plus page and load it up. I listened to this for a while, and I am not a fan of what they call the Eurodance trash. I know that's frequently what you refer to it as.
No, sir. I am a fan of that.
But these are actually quality mods. These are hand-picked. Ravi picked these out, and I was digging them, man. I loved it. I listened to this thing while I was doing some computer work, and it's a great way to make the hours fly by.
I've got a huge stash of mod files that I kept from the old days. So I've got probably, 30 discs full of these things, and I break them out. And man, I love it. I can't get enough of it, and I love it. And the fact that there's going to be 24/7 music, outstanding. Ravi is the man, the legend for Retro Hour, and this is going to be a quality deal, and I can't wait to see it go full time. I was reading, someone had asked him on one, I can't remember where I read this, but if he was running it on Amiga. He said not yet, but he hopes to someday. That would even be better.
Yes, absolutely.
To run it on Amiga. But still, it's awesome. That's going to be great. So that's definitely something that's going to be in the back. I'm going to make my coworker listen to it for a week straight and see if I can convert him over to computer music. So far, I haven't had much luck. This is something I didn't put up because it's just your usual fare, but I'm going to mention it. The new beta's out for WinUAE. Always a good time. And I haven't read exactly what they did to it, but it's usually bug fixes and the like. So if you're following that stuff, it's out. Go grab it now. So let's roll over to what we're doing on the site. A few other things that we've got cooking here. So, and you stop me if we've covered these before because I don't.
Stop me.
Our shows the last couple weeks have ran together for me. So, first one out of the gate here. Did we talk about this Running Man YouTube video script here from Dreamcatcher? Have you had a chance to fiddle with this?
I don't think that we've covered this before.
I don't think so either. So if you know Dreamcatcher, enough said. He is he does the deep work. He always does a good job. I haven't even got to look at this yet. This popped up. We've had some computer outages where I work, so I haven't got the.
Oh, I see. What this is that he's basically taking the transcript of his video that he did on the Running Man.
Is this the one that we
covered a couple weeks ago?
Oh, okay. So I think I did have. So is this what we've got standing by?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I did have. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. So
this will be something.
Yeah. Dreamcatcher has fully moved into the world of the audiovisual.
Yes.
And so, but if you want to read the text-based version of that video, then you can do that there.
Did you do any streaming this week, Bode, at all?
I did no streaming this week, unfortunately.
No, I will. This is a coming soon. Of course, by the time this airs, you better watch it on YouTube. But for the people that are actually in the chat room, I've got a guest. Crazy Leroy is coming to town this weekend, and we're going to go see some hardcore idiot wrestling tomorrow night. And
is it really hardcore?
Oh yes.
Oh,
the
wow.
IWA.
Is this the same outfit that you went to see over in Charleston?
No, but some of the same dudes are going to be on it. But Leroy's coming to town, and on Saturday night, midnight, the midnight special. Me and Leroy are going to go through the rest of the Amiga fighting games that I didn't get the first time around, and then we're going to break into just some straight-up arcade fighting games. You can watch me just pummel the crap out of Leroy while we drink booze. And,
that sounds
and
great.
Beat him down. And if we drink enough booze, I may just turn the camera on, and I may just physically start wailing on him right there in the room. Depends on how annoying he gets. So if you're into that sort of thing, that stream will be coming up. I'm aiming for about 11 o'clock p.m., Eastern Standard Time. I know that's like the middle of the night in the UK, but hey.
It'll be archived forever on YouTube.
It'll be archived. Well, unless something bizarre happens where I end up killing me right there in the middle of the floor. I think that's about all we've got. You got anything else you want to pick up while we're thinking about it?
There is one more thing. Jones sent us this from the Old School Game blog, and this, I am not 100% understanding what's going on here, but I wanted to mention it. So I think this is some sort of a voting system for Amiga demos, like choosing the best ones. I put a link to the Old School Game blog here, which leads to another link where you've got a ballot, and you can fill out. I guess the demo scene is alive and well on the Amiga, and if you are knee deep into this stuff and you've watched at least 5, you can vote on best coder, best old school effect. So if this is your bag, this is the place to go. So again, this is from the Old School Game blog. You can check out the link on our G+ page.
I sincerely feel like less of a person for not being more into the demo scene. I mean, I enjoy them when I see them, but it's not something I've delved into.
Right.
I would kind of like to get into it, but I certainly couldn't fill out a ballot on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's new and what's not. I can't even tell half the time.
All right, Aaron, it's time to dive into the world of Soccer Kid.
Before we start this little look, as you know, I am a huge fan of soccer.
You can't stop watching it.
It's true.
The Premier League's Bundesliga.
That's right. I love it. I watch it every day. My favorite team is, they were great. And so I was really looking forward to some Soccer Kid action. Now, we had a cup of coffee with this during the crazy Amigos marathon that we did for charity. And when was that, Bo?
Last June.
Was it June, really? And but we had a lot of cups of coffee that day.
We did.
But this one, I remember thinking, oh boy, Soccer Kid, here we go. And I remember thinking, it's not too bad. So when it popped up on the radar, I was actually looking forward to it. I'm turning the corner, we're not in the darts area, or we're not into that.
Snooker.
But, we're not into snooker, but I do enjoy playing soccer games, and since this is I don't know what you call it, platformy type deal.
This is not a soccer simulation.
It's not?
Spoiler.
So if I just kick a soccer ball and I can't defeat people, that'd be awesome. So Soccer Kid, this was released in 1994, and published by an outfit called Krisalis, and I believe they also did the work on it. One thing I like is one of those games that comes up and it's got like 4 or 5 flags for different languages, so you've got a bunch of different languages there. French, German, Italian, and Spanish, all the big soccer countries there. So I looked over at the people that worked on this, and it's a lot of stuff that we've never covered. I mean, there wasn't a huge team that worked on it. The musician was a guy named Matt Furness, which I'd heard of. He did Badlands and Hard Drive and a couple others we covered. But I think pretty much most of what was on the other fellas did, which the artist and the coder was Nigel Little, and the graphics guy was Paul Dobson, whose name I've heard, but I don't think we've covered any of his stuff. So I didn't know much about this outfit. It's very unusual for us to not see the same people over and over. Mm-hmm. So that's always kind of refreshing. Now I played the CD32 version of this, and I also played the ECS version. I played them both, and I liked it. Of course, the CD32 version I had, it didn't get the music, so I had to go back and kind of check out what the music sounded like. I guess it had CD music on it, so that didn't come along when I was playing that rip of it. This actually got converted. I didn't know this, and I was surprised. Now get this, boat, and we got to try this out. This got converted over to the 3DO.
Oh, we definitely need to try that out.
Right, the GBA. Right, and then it got a report to the Super Nintendo, but it was the U.S. version of it was called The Adventures of Kid Cleats.
Yeah, I had heard of that before. I never played it, but yeah.
Did you know they were the same game?
I did not know that at the time. After we played this on Amigathon, I figured that out.
Now, what do you prefer, Soccer Kid or The Adventure of Kid Cleats?
Boy, they're both pretty dumb.
I didn't expect you to say that.
I would probably go with The Adventure of Kid Cleats. Soccer Kid is just about as generic as you can get for a name.
I thought it was okay.
Okay.
And one thing, and I'll tell you why. Now, again, I'm not a soccer guy, but this game embodies all the love and fandom that is soccer. And the Soccer Kid goes around, he's representing soccer, for God's sakes, he's getting the cup put back together. It's okay to completely mark out and call it
getting the cup back together. Want a mission from God.
That's right. So, what is Soccer Kid? Well, good question. It's a platformer, right? Mm-hmm. It's a platformer where you have a soccer ball and you kick the ball around and do stuff with the ball.
Right.
Right. It seems like a simple concept, but the soccer ball adds an element to this game that is unique. Mm-hmm. I can't think of any other game that I've played of this type where you have to play it like this. And I'm interested to see how you played it, because when I played it, I had to adjust my play style to get anywhere into a weird. This is the anti-Sonic. How about that? So you're a kid in this game. The premise of it is, bad guys have came down and they basically took the cup, and it got split up, and you have to go and collect all the pieces of the cup. You run around and with your soccer ball, and you try to defeat enemies, jump over pits. And jump up in trees and stuff, and you use your ball to defeat enemies. You also can use it to collect stuff with. So you could kick if there's a row of collectibles, a la Super Frog, just about 20 of them. You just kick your ball and the ball will go through them. You get them. Mm-hmm. Pretty handy, mm-hmm. Right? So what makes the game wacky? Well, a bunch of stuff. You can jump on the ball, and you can jump. It lets you jump higher. Mm-hmm. You can roll around on the ball. Now, as I talk about these things, do not for a moment think that I was doing this stuff, because my abilities with the ball were limited. All right, and I tried like gangbusters to get better with it, and I could do some stuff, but a lot of stuff I couldn't figure out. So the first stage is a good example of how the game flows. And I will admit, I got, believe it or not, and there's no cheats for this game. There are no cheats. I was very fortunate in the version of this I have. Had save games of every level. That's the only reason I got to see this game in person, was to go through and play the different save games, and I would get smashed. But just on my own, I got to the end of the middle of the second stage.
That's about as far as I got too.
I did, and it took me forever and I had to use save states. I'm not gonna lie, to get past the first boss. And I'm not sure what the pattern was. Maybe you can tell me what it was because I just kind of got lucky.
I pounded him with the ball.
Yeah,
that was my pattern.
Thanks for that hot tip. So, what makes this game interesting? Well, let's just picture your guy running along the sidewalk. Here comes a bad guy. Right? It doesn't matter. Sometimes they're on skateboards. Sometimes they're on bikes. Sometimes they're dogs. Sometimes they're big guys that are walking around. You have to whack them with the ball to kill them. Okay, some of them take multiple hits. So if you're zipping along and all of a sudden here comes a skateboarder at you, you're not going to have time to hit him twice with that ball before the skateboard comes. So what I learned to do was to just kick the ball forward over and over and over and kind of run up to it as best I could. If you lose the ball, you can hold your button down on your joystick and then the ball will reappear. But I think there's a point deduction or something for that, or something happens in the long run where you don't necessarily want to do it. But I did it over and over and over because I would lose my ball everywhere. It's
as if when you are out in the street and you just kick your soccer ball. It happens as often as it would happen in a real
And the funny
city.
thing in this game is, since the ball is your weapon, picture if you had a sword. If a sword is your weapon, this kid just is tossing his sword everywhere, and so the sword doesn't come back. You have no weapon for the time it's gone, and here comes a goof.
It's very similar to the game that we played last week on ARG.
How do you figure?
It's Mr. Dew's ball.
Well, this doll's not as wacky as Mr. Dew's ball, but I mean, the people coming at you, they come at a speed that you can't not have the ball. And so when I said it was the anti-Sonic, in Sonic you just zip through the level as quick as you can. Man, I was inching through these levels at a snail's pace trying to make sure I didn't run into these people, because if you're not paying attention you could run right into them. It's also got these dadgum spiked pits all over the place, and that's another pain in the butt. The dog that runs out is annoying. He's small, and there are plenty of obstacles to hose you. You can, in some areas, you can get into like a sewer or a secret room or whatever. Then you got another problem. You got these darn rats that are down there, and they're super small, and the ball can bounce over them or whatever. So you got to be real careful killing those things too. I also got to a few points that and early on when I didn't know what I was doing, where I just couldn't get out of an area because I didn't know about hopping on the ball, which you have to sort of master all these skills, don't you? I mean, really, to progress to any great length, you have to sort of know how to bounce the ball up in the air. You'll be attacked by birds and stuff, and you have to sort of kick the ball up. So your guy, if you hit the button and pull up, the ball will sort of bounce. Your guy will sort of, what they call that, knee of the ball. Is there a name for that?
Knee.
Is there a soccer name, or is it just that's not what it's called?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm asking you. You don't know anything about soccer either. But eventually, your guy will knee the ball, and you can kick it straight up, or you can give a big super whack and kick the ball across the screen. You have to learn these things to go any distance, which I did okay, I thought, for a newbie, on it. So the game is split up into like different countries where your ball, went. You've got England, and then and at the end of the English level, it's funny because when I first played this, I thought they were making fun of American football, but it's a big rugby guy. It looks like a football. You have to kick him enough times with the ball to kill him. And like I said, we beat him. He was the only boss I could actually get to beat. So, but you've got England. It's got some of the background. I guess it sort of looks, it's okay. It looks pretty good. You were in England. You think it looked like England, the backgrounds and stuff.
It had that sort of overall dreariness that is so indicative of the city center of many cities in the north.
Oh man.
Ravi Abbott in the chat says that the kneeing action is called a keepy uppy.
The keepy uppy. Well, why did I know that? So then you've got Italy, and you've got some dudes on mopeds that come at you.
It's a very international, very continental game.
Now Russia, of course, all these levels I got to play a little bit of, and then I got smashed.
I wish I would have known about the stage select. That would have made it a lot of fun.
Well, I don't know if you had or not. So Russia, again, I had saved games. The only reason I got there. Russia's tough, and it's the snow level, and and when you get the red square at the end, you've got the I would love to have seen these guys, the Russian gymnasty assassins.
Wow!
So that's pretty cool.
Gymnasty assassins.
Then you got Japan, and yet then you're at the factory when you got to go after the sumo wrestler. In the USA, you've got what do you
Just real fat people.
I think so. You got an American football player. There he is.
There he is.
I knew one had to be around.
I wonder
somewhere.
if it's just a palette swap with the rugby guy.
Well, I mean, I thought the rugby guy was an American. I was like, why is this guy in London? But that explains it. The rugby guy. You can pick stuff up as you go to aid your quest. I mean, it doesn't aid it much. If you get a clock, you get extra time. Hearts give you extra stamina, and then you can get a thing that gives you more. It gives you more heart containers, and you can also get something to refill your energy. You can get this T-shirt that makes you invulnerable, right? The problem with that is you still have to traverse the level. I never got much out of being invincible. I mean, it made it go quicker for a few seconds, but it didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was
unless you happen to get it at just the right time. It's
and then you've got boots that give you extra speed. One of the things you pick up are these little like cards. They're like I guess they're like soccer playing cards.
Yeah, they're like playing cards, or I mean trading cards.
Yeah, and you get so many. Did you ever actually get all of them for a level? I didn't either. But I think that's a cool element. And one thing this game does do is it promotes exploring a level. I did find some secret areas. I found some places that hidden door in walls you could go through. There are places where you'll see something. It's your classic like platformer gimmick where you can see the thing. How do I get up to it? I climb up in a tree or whatever. I enjoyed the game. I thought the sound on the ECS version was good. I actually didn't see a ton of difference between the two versions. I know on the CD32 version, something tells me they did the bare minimum to convert it.
They didn't give you the second button.
Well, I did not have extra buttons. And I also, the only difference I saw really was that in the in-between rounds where the guy leans on the disc, in the CD32 version he leans on a CD. So there's that. Something else you can do is actually change your guy's colors. In the beginning, you can change. So I guess you could.
Do you know what they call a soccer uniform in England?
A uni? I don't know.
No, that's what they call a college.
Oh, I saw. Oh, what's it called?
A kit. KIT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get your kit. Your
okay, well,
kit.
fair enough. Well, my kit, I went with the jet black.
Ooh.
Black shorts, black pants. Is there a team that wears that? Because I think the refs wear that, don't they? So my guys are
I'm sure there is a team that wears black. I just don't know about soccer.
I always went like there's a tutorial thing, which I didn't ever do, but I saw it in the options. It does let you save your game, which is helpful. I noticed that you can input your name with the keyboard, which always bugs me. You have to use the joystick.
Yeah,
that's usually a bad sign. I think this game would have done well with more buttons. I know you've heard that before. To me, doing all the stuff you need to do with the one button was sort of a hassle. I think this game has way too many collectibles. I know I've said that before too. They're everywhere, and eventually I just stopped caring about them and just didn't bother even going after them because I was just trying to get past the level. There are some parts they'll put collectibles at the very end of the level, and you can see the end flag. So I'm like, screw this. I'm just leaving. I don't want to worry about because your lives are much more valuable than the goodies. I never, and even the special goodies didn't make me feel like they were that special. So I'm thumbs down on the goodies. I don't know what it is about these games having too much stuff. I mean, just every game we play, there's just all that. Now, this is not the worst offender, but there's still a lot of stuff that you have to collect. But I mean, I guess that's I don't know. I guess that's just the carrot they put on the end of the stick. Like I said, some of the enemies were difficult for me to kill. The game is not. I thought the first level wasn't super hard.
It ramps up really quick.
But the bad guy at the end was really tough. And a soccer kid, without jumping on the ball, doesn't jump real high. And so I couldn't jump over that guy. And I wasn't good enough with the controls to manipulate my guy to be bouncing on the ball or doing his cute tricks. I had trouble with that. So the controls sort of hampered me. What did you think about it, Bo?
Well, I feel like this is one of the better platformers that we've played. I think the ball gimmick, I think you're really underrating the ball gimmick. I think it's a style of play that really rewards mastery. I feel like there are probably people out there that really know how to handle the ball, and you can really do some awesome stuff. You jump up there, you use it as a trampoline, then you get back down and you kick it at something that comes, I think I really like that, and I think it's handled as well as it can be given the controls they were given. However, I think the game is just too hard. I think you should be able to get through at least a couple stages without really having to break a sweat, just to enjoy the game before it really gets hard.
I appreciate what the ball brings. I really, in some ways, this reminds me of RoboCod, and not in gameplay, but it's an interesting gimmick.
Yeah.
Right?
It's that's a good comparison.
RoboCod had that wacky gimmick, and this has and it's a good gimmick.
Right.
But I mean, it does change it, and this is not necessarily a bad thing. To me, it made it slower. The game plays very slowly because I was so acute in looking at what's coming up. Because stuff could just walk right up on you, and you can get caught with your pants on. Now, maybe if I was a better ball handler, I would not have as much danger. But I always felt like I was in danger, so I was always sending that ball.
I think it was a big mistake to make so many enemies take 2 hits to kill. If you could just bounce it off the guy, and especially if it would bounce right back to you, you could really feel like you're making some momentum happen. It would feel a lot tighter.
Some of the enemies are pretty funny. You've got these old, I don't know what they are in the city, just some kind of goof. And then you've got these old farm guys, the people they reminded me sort of like the art on Monty Python, sort of. They're kind of wacky, big, way bigger than the soccer kid.
Yeah.
Guys. And they were amusing, and you're also going around, you're bonking like sheep and goats, all kinds of crazy stuff.
The game
like
is
that.
very pretty. It's a very pretty game.
Yeah, it's a good-looking game. It's got the background's nice. They don't go with the just flat background. There's stuff going on back there, which is nice. I like the fact that there's a checkpoint halfway through, thank God. There's tons of secret stuff, and I came across some of it, and I watched a few videos of people playing that were better than me to see what they were doing. People that are really good with this game can do some really awesome stuff with the ball. It makes it look like a lot more fun.
Exactly.
And I'm sure given more time to fiddle with it, I use as I've been using, I use the Amiga CD32 pad to play this most of the time when I wasn't playing on the emulator. And it worked well, but again, I was disappointed that I couldn't do it. Didn't help me, to perform any better. What did you think about did you think there were too many collectibles?
To be honest with you, I think at this point I'm just immune to it because every platformer on the Amiga has a billion things to collect. As long as it doesn't hinder me in any way, unless they're making me collect so many of each thing. I think that was the problem with maybe it was Rough and Tumble or something like that, where you couldn't advance unless you collected enough things. I guess Super Frog is like that too. It doesn't bother me. They're there, but you're free to ignore them. I would rather have too many collectibles and to me, the care that they put into the enemy design outshone any bad feelings I had about the collectibles. It was so nice to play a game where there was a variety of enemies. They were all drawn very humorously.
Yeah, and now as far as the level design goes, and Alex said I had a cup of coffee with most of the levels as far as I could get. There was a couple I could actually get to and beat the first part of the level, so I got to go into it pretty deeply. I thought it was okay. This game would be difficult to design, in my opinion, due to the ball part of it. It really does add a different level to it, and I wasn't offended by the levels. I didn't think it's not like they lured me in and I couldn't get enough. I thought they were okay. I hate spike pits and stuff, and also of course you get to a point pretty early on where you have to use the ball to jump on to get around, and I had trouble doing that, so that made it kind of tough for me.
I appreciated the linear progression of the levels. It wasn't a Turrican-like thing where I found that I was getting lost a lot. This is much more akin to a Japanese style platform.
Yeah, you're not. This is not a. You can explore, but you're not going to go crazy.
Right.
With trying to explore the different areas. It's not that bad. I do also like the aspect that you kick off every time you have a new guy come up or you start a different level. That's sort of funny. There are various platforms that are sort of like Mario has a stack of blocks where you can jump on the bottom and you can kind of keep jumping up them. They're kind of like. It's like a pseudo 3D, I guess. They don't look 3D, but you can kind of go up. So there were some aspects of that you'd seen in other games. But really, I will say as far as this sort of game on the Amiga, this is a pretty unique game. And the fact that it got ported to a lot of stuff doesn't surprise me. Apparently, the Amiga version was the premier version. So I thought that was pretty neat. Overall, thumbs up for me. I enjoyed it. Something I failed to mention is that I also like the end where when you finish a level, it gives you like a big digital scoreboard.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like that. And your guy hangs out underneath the scoreboard doing tricks. He's way more apt at this stuff than I am, but it gives you points for all the different tricks you did during the level. And so I would do I kept hitting the ball in my head over and over and over. It drove me nuts because I was trying. But I mean, I would get points for it because I did it.
You know what it reminded me of is the footbag event. In
I
California
knew you were going to say his footbag event. I knew it was going. Just waiting for it to come. I know. I'm horrible at footbag. So I looked this up to see how it reviewed back in the day. This did pretty well. In fact, it did. I'd say B average. Amiga CD32 Gamer, that doomed magazine, gave it 88%. Amiga Computer gave it 88%. Amiga Format 93. Amiga Power 80. And The One gave it 93. So, between 80s and low 90s. I think that's probably where I would put it. I look, when we do these games, I think, how did it look? It looks good. How did it sound? It sounded good on the ECS version. It sounded pretty good. How's the concept? Concept solid. Really interesting. How does it play? It plays pretty well. How does it control? That's the only thing I didn't like about it. That's where I would dock points. It may just be that I'm not skilled enough to play it well, but it was, but the fact that you had to play it in a different way. I've never played a game like this where I had to move so bizarrely.
Another game that I sort of compare it to is Yoshi's Island. Have you ever played that on the Super Nintendo?
I've not, no.
So in that game, you actually have to use Yoshi to fire eggs at different things, and there's a whole aiming mechanism and things like that. But it's kind of another projectile-based side-scrolling game.
Was that Super Mario Land 3?
Yeah, Super Mario Land 2.
I didn't like that.
A lot of people did dislike that.
It was
game.
nothing like Super Mario
Right.
Land, and that's not good.
Right.
And so I remember playing that the first couple levels and being like, eh.
Yeah, it is a very different game.
Does it ever get like Super Mario
No.
Land?
No.
I wonder why they made that choice. I know this is the Super Mario Land podcast.
It's hard to say. It's like why follow up Super Mario Brothers 1 with Super Mario Brothers 2?
Who knows? One thing else before we close it up. When you kick your ball into a spike pit, it makes a satisfying noise. It gets like the ball's deflating. And I can't tell you how many times I heard that noise. Because I always just kick the ball off the screen, just over and over. And one thing you can do in this game is when you kick the ball off the screen, you'll hit people you can't even see. And that was part of the strategy. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, you can just kick the ball off, and if they're fairly close to where you are, it'll hit them. And so my strategy was, by the time I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm sure this is everyone's strategy, but as I was scrolling across, I'd want to get a good shot in before I even got there. That way you've got enough time to hit them again.
Right.
Because those guys on the bikes, for example, that took 2 hits, they'd be coming up on you so fast you could not get that second hit in. Another thing I like to do in this was to kick the ball as I'm running off. I did that a lot. Did you do that a lot? Was that one of your...
No, I never really tried that.
I would be running, and you could jerk the stick back real quick, and that way if you got a guy on your hiney, you can whack him with the ball.
Oh, interesting.
There's a lot of different things you can do with the ball, and this is just the basic stuff. That's what I liked about the game. It gave you a different slant. If the road or whatever, there was a little hill or something, you'd kick the ball up, and it would fly off. There was like a physics engine or something with the ball. The ball would bounce sort of realistically. It would hit stuff and bounce back and forth. It made that game part of the game interesting too, because unlike Mr. Dew's ball, which just sort of randomly goes off, this one there was some rhyme or reason to it. It would bounce off the wall and come back or whatever. And if you waited around long enough, you usually find the ball or it would roll back to you.
Right.
But I was always too impatient, just hit the button and wait and get it back as quick as I could. I looked this up on eBay, Boat. I know you're stunned, and believe it or not, I found a copy here in the USA. I was stunned. $20. And Soccer Kid can be yours boxed.
That's very good price.
I was sorely tempted to buy Soccer Kid. I
wouldn't have blamed you. I wouldn't have blamed you.
If you're in the UK, it's Soccer Kid all day, every day. I saw prices ranging from $17 up to $34 boxed. You're good to go. Some guy was selling the discs only for $7. And then you've got the Germans. If you're in Germany looking for this, buy it in the UK. There's one guy $370.
Holy cow.
But it's sealed. So
you never know with those sealed games.
is that worth it? I don't know. But overall, I dug it. Another soccer game that I'll have to say I liked. So
all right.
In fact, I think I've liked every soccer-related thing we've covered on the show. It's the darndest thing.
It is. It's very funny.
And this was way better than the American football games we played. So go figure.
Any day of the week.
Embarrassing.
This game was brought to us by Amigos Game Selection Committee member Chris Folds. So thank you, Chris, for choosing such an awesome title.
Yeah, good choice.
I would like to next talk about last week's Patreon song winner.
Oh, my.
This has actually been many weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, because we did a couple episodes where we taped ahead of time. I'd like to congratulate Darren Green for winning. Darren wrote in with the correct answer while the show was still going on. So he was fast out of the gate.
Impressive.
And unfortunately, he did not include his favorite Amigos episode or mailing address. So I did not make him a postcard, but maybe all he wanted was just to bask in the glory of recognition. So thank you, Darren. We also want to thank Figgy CTZ, Matthew Perron, and Chris Folds for writing in their answers. Everyone guessed the correct answer, which was "I'm Still Standing" by Sir Elton John.
Yeah.
All right.
Even I got that one, Bo.
So it is time for this week's Patreon Song Challenge. If you know the answer, please write in. I think we're actually going to discontinue the postcard thing because it was taking me. The problem is that I can't just put the cover art on there and let it be. I was moving things around. I was using different fonts. It was taking me like an hour to do this postcard.
Bo's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Y'all.
But you will get to bask in the glory of being mentioned on the Amigos in next week's episode. So send your guesses to john@amigospodcast.com.
Maybe you could just sing their name in an amusing way.
I will do that. I will sing your name in an amusing way. All right. So here we go. Dan Ross, Lee Kellon, Alan Kebab, Donald Tyler, Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocha, Crippy, Dead Boy, Figgy, CTZ, The Slow Norris, Stefan Sagard Martinson, Edvin Helen, Bilindo 70, Fake Christopher, Hassasa, Ravi Abbott, Chris Folds, Dreamcatcher, Lauren Giroux, Graham Bebke, Bryn Dowdy, Lane Dinson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Hucker, C. Brian Hall, Harrington, Duncan Styles, Anthony Jarvis, Tapes from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Will Williams, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rulo, T.H. Eric Nelson, Derek, Tommy Hummus, Daniel Pixie, Good Derek Coles, Jason Walls, Pixels and Dog, Kilby and Barman. So if you know what that was, let me know because I'm not sure myself.
If you know what that was, man, time to stick a pencil in your ear.
So
Sharp side forward.
next week, Aaron.
Yeah, what are we playing next week, Bo?
Before I announce it, I should say that if you want to be part of that illustrious list of names,
And who wouldn't?
You can go over to patreon.com/AmigosPodcast and become an Amigos supporter. You can also gain access to our Discord, which is Amiga Talk 24/7, all kinds of crazy nonsense. Everything's going down over on the Discord. You need to be there with us. So once again, that is patreon.com/AmigosPodcast. Aaron, next week we are going to do Figgy CTZ, another Amigos Game Selection Committee members game. We are going to play that classic strategy, first-person dungeon crawler-esque.
It's like 10 things.
It's 10 things in one. It is Hired Guns.
Okay, Hired Guns.
Yeah, so guys, thank you for listening. We want to thank everybody hanging out with us in the chat. Pixels at Dawn, Retro Ravi, Duncan Styles, Treyguard, Paul Harrington, Christopher Hassel, Pixels at Dawn, I already said that, Dan Ross, John Marshall. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We record this almost every Friday, and we're recording Thursday this week, but mostly it's on Fridays around 5:30 Eastern time. So feel free to join the party in the chat. And of course, you can always listen to us in audio or video form on YouTube. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus is where we post all of our show notes.
You know, that's a fetching shirt you're wearing there, Bo.
Thank you. This is our Amigos Retro Gaming shirt. Be sure and check out our sister show, ARG Presents, in podcast or video form, you can go over to tpublic.com/stores/Amiga to purchase an official Amigos shirt or ARG shirt. We've got all kinds of crazy stuff on there, even a Guru meditation shirt.
Very good.
So, all right, we will see you guys next week for Hired Guns. Until then, adios.